We're going to cover witchcraft and the lies and dangers that come with it in this video. And according to a lot of exorcists out there are so many people today going to the witches to help them out with their problems. And for our case study or example, if I may put it that way, is going to be this interview. And according to this witch, even NBA stars go to her, and that Beyonce is also a witch.
Businesses, a lot of people that have like hair business, nail business, and like they're not getting any clients or they're just starting.
Okay. So
they come to me to do their conjure and then they're booked up like next week. Like, what did you do? You came to me for results and I did it. This is what I do. And my biggest, like, of all time are NBA stars because they pay.
But before I share a little bit more of that interview, let me just share this with you for now and try to relate what Father Ripperger says in this clip with what the witch is saying. There's a link to the full interview in the description box below, by the way.
Low-level witches, I mean, sometimes their stuff does actually happen, etc. It's very similar to, somebody who's starting out in the spiritual life. When they first pray, they might get a few things here and there, but it's not until they really become saints that it becomes more effective. These low-level witches, those witches tend to be somewhat public and out in the open about their witchcraft. And then there's the middle tier, who are people who have studied it a little bit more. They might actually have studied it under another witch, etc., and they become somewhat proficient. Those will also be somewhat open. The middle tier, very often are the ones that are doing the spells for hire, where you can get online and give them $100 and they'll do some spell thing. And those are kind of the middle tier. But the upper tier of the witches. So if people understand a little bit about the history of witchcraft, I mean, it's been around for quite some time, actually. But after the Council of Trent and after the Protestant Revolution, there was actually a major uptick in witchcraft in Europe. And that witchcraft was very proficient, and it's been in family lines in some cases, literally since the 1600s. So these are people who actually, and that the knowledge about how this stuff works and what to do and what not to do, and the actual fact that they're using demons to do this is actually known by these people. So their knowledge of how the spiritual structure of these things works is almost on the same level as mine is. And so you have this, and those particular people, they are not the type of people that are going to be out there and say, "Hey, I'm a witch." They don't do that kind of a thing, because they know that if you're a witch, you can also become a target. Second, if it's a cult, so that you're more proficient in it, being able to achieve what you want to achieve by keeping quiet, so that nobody does any prayers to block it. And they also they're also a cult in the sense of, you're never going to know. I mean, literally, it could be your next door neighbor who looks great, which, by the way, I'm not suggesting that people should be worrying about their next door neighbor, but it can literally be somebody who's the judge on the bench, a police officer. It can be somebody sitting in the pew next to you at church. And these are people that are so high level, their level of proficiency is, because I've known of a couple of them, I should say. I knew one, in one particular, she lived in the central part of the United States. Her ability to pull off ritual stuff was unbelievable. The communication she had with the diabolic is no different than you and I talking right now, Terry. It was on that level. And so, almost like Padre Pio and his guardian angel kind of level. It was that type of a level. And those when they curse somebody, there's a high level of proficiency. It's likely to occur unless the person themselves is keeping themselves protected.
Like I said, if you want to listen to the full interview, there's a link to the video in the description box below. Anyway, after listening to Father Ripperger's explanation, now listen to what the witch is saying here.
You say you do root work.
Yeah, I do. Yes. People come to me if they want root work on anything. So it could be money, it can be love, it can be a lawsuit payout, settlement, whatever the case may be.
You do consider yourself a celebrity.
Oh, I am.
Root work advisor.
They all come to me. Mm-hmm. Plenty of them.
What?
Yes. I started with celebrities, and then I was posting my stuff, and that's how I started with the public. But it was celebrities only, because you need to have a check to come to me. So now I have things that the public can come to me for too. DM me and say, "Oh, my husband's cheating, and I want to hex him and hex." That's very common.
Very common.
Very common. Pastor-wise, come to me all the time.
Not they supposed to be going to God.
Yeah.
I get a lot of these stories, but it doesn't go that deep. Like, for me, you see what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's real.
And it's people really do. This is like a big market. Is it sort of like black market?
No, it's not black market though. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's very much widely known. People just don't talk about it. Or if people come to me, they're not gonna tell somebody else that they're coming to me. Like they might tell their uncle, their sister, but they ain't telling their friends. They don't want nobody to know.
So what? Okay, so when you perform a hex, all right. Do you consider yourself a witch?
Oh, I am a witch.
I didn't know, because they tell me Beyonce's a witch and shit like that.
Oh,
that
she
we
is.
should be scared. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's an Ifa. So when she wears her yellow, that's Oshun.
Oh.
Riches and beauty and love and all of that, which I can see why she's connected to Oshun. But yeah, so it's another kind of tradition.
Okay.
Like a lot of people would think it's voodoo, but it's really Ifa. So it's like a lifestyle as opposed to religion.
Because I always wonder why she always got on them flowers and she got on that elaborate shit. I'm like, can nobody buy your clothes? Your clothes look different.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
She probably gives her, so she has her own altar. She gives her food. She has parties for her. All of that.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Okay. You serve God?
Not in the Christian sense.
I get that. Okay.
But I do know that God is a higher power spiritual being. I do not believe it's a person. And my biggest, of all time are NBA stars because they pay.
Really?
And they fly me out to do work in person. They don't even want me to do it at my house. Yeah, come to me.
They want to see you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, big bucks.
What's the most you ever got for somebody?
In total from one person?
Yeah.
About 100K. Yeah,
okay.
100K.
Okay.
But whatever promises or how persuasive these witches may sound, just remember this.
Many people today say they're channeling their inner witch, they're bringing healing through their witchcraft and their magic and that sort of thing. It's not true. Again, what witches manipulate or are manipulated by is by demons, and so they will disguise themselves. For example, we had a woman who her family came in and they had some spiritual problems really with demons, and so they went to a witch, and the witch said, I'm going to do some healing prayers over you. So she did some healing prayers, and the situation got 10 times worse. You can't do good things by evil means. Magic and witchcraft are evil. It's condemned and by the Lord, and we're not. If we want to be healed, Jesus is our healer. Jesus is the source of our healing. When we go to these sort of magical witchcraft things, you're stepping into the dark world, and the demons ultimately will never be present to your good. They will always result in evil and bad results.
Now, there was an interview of a former witch, and in it she shared her testimony, how she got started, the miseries, depression, the demonic attacks, until finally she left it all behind when she found God. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description box below for the full interview. But there's something she said that really reminded me of what Father Vincent Lampert said during one of his many interviews when he was still an exorcist.
We're designed for intimacy with God. I didn't have God. So I was craving, I'm a very deep person. I needed something. So I started searching in all the wrong places. And what happened was I happened to grow up in a village that was really heavy in witchcraft. There was a famous witch that used to live there back in the 40s and the 50s. And so this whole village was known for witchcraft. And so I could just walk 20 minutes into my village, and I'm met with about 8 to 10 shops where I can buy pentagram necklaces, where I can buy cauldrons, or I can buy spell books. And so when I was starting to sort of get to the age where I was curious and looking for more, that's what I found. And so I went through this sort of phase of exploring that, watching witchy things on TV, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and maybe I'm a witch, and all the the typical teenage stuff. But it got quite dark quite quickly, and I remember being very very drawn to darker things. I started to listen to really dark music. I started dressing very dark. My mother was horrified. I came home one day and I dyed my hair black, like jet black. And I remember opening the front door. She just looked at me and she said nothing. Her face was like, okay. She went to my father and said, say nothing, just leave it. But I was black makeup, black hair, chains, like gothic, and I was very, very girly growing up. So something was there looming around me. And I was looking for purpose and I was looking for power, and I found it in darker places. And I started getting quite sick. I started getting quite depressed. And this all happened from probably the age of 15 to about 17. So I think I opened a door and things just came in. And I think I was easily accessible to that realm because I didn't understand it, but I also had a prophetic gift where I could see things. Like I could see dark things. I could see dark things around people, and I could see God around people, but there was no one there to teach me what's what. And so I didn't understand. And I thought everyone could see these things. But at night I would be plagued with these things coming into my room and literally knocking things off the shelves. And I could feel them walking around my bed. You know, the floorboards would be moving. They would pull my bed covers. And it's weird because when I look back, there was never a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? It was so normal that I didn't even tell anyone. And I would get sleep paralysis. You know, it was a really dark time. I think that was where the enemy really got in. And I think he does that with a lot of people that have these types of gifts, the gifts to see and to sense. You know, you can't just see light, you've got to see darkness too. You can't have one without the other. So my whole upbringing was kind of training me in that realm. And I learned to understand it, but it was really dark. And I would just, so I struggled to sleep because I could just feel these things around me. And then it started to show up in my daily life where, yeah, suddenly I'm pin thin, I'm depressed, and I needed intimacy. Like I needed that closeness, but I couldn't find it in people, and I didn't have people around me that knew God. And so it was just it was so lonely. It was like 3 years of complete loneliness.
And here's the clip of Father Lampert I was referring to earlier. Listen to this.
It's easy to say that one believes in God when everything's going great. So I do believe that anyone who takes their faith seriously, anyone who tries to combat the devil, can expect to experience some type of oppression or demonic attacks in their life. Oftentimes it's like a heaviness on your chest, and there's this almost utter despair that you feel. Literally, the demon is trying to jump on you, and there's this sense of utter despair and hopelessness. Some of it can be in the form of, I've seen demons kind of in a physical form, if you will. The times that I've actually seen demons, and I think God permits that, it's like a very dark blob. And it's the darkest dark that you can imagine. Because again, remember, Lucifer, being the light bearer, used to glow with God's glory. You know, I have 6 brothers and 2 sisters. When I was a kid, my brothers and I used to take these rubber balls that would glow in the dark. And we would put them up against a light bulb where it could absorb the light. And then we would turn the light off and it would glow. But eventually, the glowing ball would start to fade unless it was constantly fed by the light. So we as Christians constantly need to be fed by the light of Christ. And when we're not, we lapse into darkness. So demons, because they're no longer fed by the glory of God, it's kind of almost like a black hole, if you will, when you can see a demon. This very dark blob, if you will, that literally is like a black hole. And I've witnessed that in my life. And again, that goes back to just it being in complete, utter darkness. There is no light. You know, sometimes people, when they think of hell, they always think of the fires of hell. But really, hell would be the cold, if you will, because there is no presence of God. There is no glory of God. And so we think of the devil as utter darkness. But when we think of Christ as Christians, we think of light. So for Christians, if you're living out your faith, the light is always on. But if one is living a life of sin, the light is off, darkness.
I didn't plan to make a long video for this one. I always try to make it short for our lessons here, but I'll share this one with you from Father Iannuzzi before we get to the end of the video.
So when the devil tempts you or tries to distract you or sow fear into your heart, even through these gloom and doom preachers that from time and again are proven false by the church, Just tell the devil when he enters your mind with these distracting, despairing thoughts, these ill thoughts placed in my mind, to thee, O Jesus, I quickly bind, that thou might cast them far from me. By thine own fiat, set me free. So courage is a very powerful tool against fear. Now, in these end times, we're being given by the media, the secular media. They call it a psychological operation, a psy-op. They throw out all these fearful tactics at you, whether it's on account of a virus, whether it's on account of drones, whether it's on account of this or that. Whether it's true or not is not what I'm addressing here. I'm simply addressing the response that they instill in you. Whether they do it deliberately or not does not matter. What matters is this fear has no place in you as a Christian. And courage is the answer. That gives you peace. But courage does not come by itself. It's the fruit of number one, what Jesus told Louisa and what Mary told Josefa Menendez. Humbling yourself in prayer. Considering yourself unworthy to merit such trials, resigning yourself to the divine will, and in that moment peace comes. And you offer up those trials as a pleasing sacrifice, a holocaust, an oblation to God of praise, satisfaction, reparation for the offenses he receives. And the devil, seeing you courageous, which is the last quality that follows humble prayer, resignation, offering up courage. Once he sees that courage, he flees.
So that is all for this time, and I just want to thank every one of you for your continuous support and for taking a little bit of your time to be here every time I share something. So I truly want to thank all of you who keep showing up. Thank you so much for your kind words and continuous support, and until the next time, thanks again for watching, and may God bless you.